Howdy folks, Keywii here, and welcome back to Steins Gate, a safe space in which we awesome where we're just asking what's wrong. What's wrong? But there's no way that's right. I don't know. I don't know what it is. What are you talking about? Explain. Oh, thank God. It's like partway through any conversation where you decide, I wasn't paying attention. Time for exposition. Well, I'm pulling data off the server, looking for a way to gain root access. And these files are downloading crazy fast. I mean, we're talking light speed here. It's hard to believe, but for some reason, this area has a direct fiber optic line to CERN. Several lines, even. Direct? What do you mean? I mean, there's literally a fiber optic cable running from underneath this building to CERN's headquarters in France. Fucking pardon? Is that strange? Yes, Rentaro, it is strange. Yeah? Derek calls up the National Assembly of France's website. Then he brings up the command prompt and hammers out some commands. Oh, look. This is the route we use to visit the National Assembly of France's site. Sure. I don't know what specifically I'm looking at, but there you go. It starts from our IP address. From there, it passes through various relays in Japan. Oh, okay. It's a list of the things that happened as they happen. Jumps to France, then bounces around there for a while before finally reaching the National Assembly site. It takes 16 steps total to get there. Yep, sounds about right. The average transfer rate is about 300 milliseconds. That's normal for an overseas connection. Yep. That's why in online video games, especially games that are played like all over the world, I'm gonna use Overwatch as an example. In Overwatch, when you're shooting people and they die, technically what you see isn't actually correct. See, what happened to them is different than what you saw. So you shoot them, and just say they're going around a corner, and you get them the last with a bullet just as they go around the corner. On their screen, they were already past the corner, and they died, and they're just like, what the fuck? Because of the latency. This is a very true fact. So, it's and Overwatch, the reason I use that as an example is because it likes to prioritize the shootee, or the shooter, not the shootee. The person doing the stuff. In other words, there's a route we have to take to get from France to Japan. Everyone takes the same route. Other countries are the same, even browsing domestically takes about 10 steps. Now, let's try CERN. Derek calls up CERN's homepage on the browser. Then he displays the route like last time. The results. There's only one step. Unlike before, the signal doesn't pass through any intermediate servers. The PC we're using, its registered name is Akihabara PC, is connected directly to CERN in France. And the transfer rate is hundreds of times better than usual. Crazy fast. You can't even get these numbers domestically, man. Why do we have a direct line? Is that even possible? It was like this when we found it. I didn't do anything. So the building already had a hotline to CERN? Yeah, that's crazy. This can't be coincidence. It might just be the choice of Steins. It doesn't make sense. Why would there be an independent line running from here all the way to CERN? They're so excited he interrupted me. And he's still going. Oh, wrong button. Sorry, I've been playing a lot of, not Pokemon Go, that's the wrong game. Animal Crossing New Horizons, and, because on the Switch, the buttons for A and B are reversed, No Japanese or French telecommunication company would set up something like this, which means CERN did it themselves. Derek gulps and nods. Cold sweat oozes from his brow. How would they accomplish that? Like, unless it was before you guys were doing stuff, somebody would have noticed. That's just not a thing you can actually do, in the couple weeks that, well, maybe in the couple weeks, but it's a direct physical cable going from Japan to France. You'd have to build a tunnel for that sort of shit. And especially considering, like, going across Asia might be the long way. I feel chill as well. You might even go over the North Pole. That would probably be the quickest way. CERN might be able to see everything we're doing. No. Maybe. Maybe CERN has been expecting us for years. How could that be? The answer is simple. John Titor claims that CERN completed their time machine in 2034. Just 2 years later, the world is a dystopia under their rule. Maybe the CERN of 2034 considers our opposition in 2010 a threat. You know, maybe. That would theoretically make sense. If they have time travel on their hands, they could just go back to long beforehand, well, not long beforehand, like a few years before the setting of this, and decide, let's build a fiber optic cable. Maybe they use their time machine to travel to 2000 and install a fiber optic cable to track our every move. I don't know about 2000, but definitely, yeah. It's entirely possible. Also, in 2034, fiber optic should be, like, the norm for, like good stuff. Not, like, definitely, like, standard, but definitely good. The standard right now is, well, basic copper cable, and that's being replaced in a lot of places. Fiber optics are taking over, and that's good. That's a good thing. Has the invention of the time machine started an intertemporal war? If so, what can we do? Well, hypothetically, CERN knows that you exist, and they are trying to take you out before you become a thing. The fact that they haven't acted yet means that they're going to at some point when things start to, you know, kick off a little bit, I suppose you could say. Our enemy might be stronger than even I can imagine. No, I mustn't lose heart. I need to think positive. But thanks to the direct line, we can now control the LHC remotely. Oh, interesting. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. Sorry I paused so much. Here's what I'm thinking. CERN doesn't actually build a time machine. These guys do, and CERN steals it. So, with the stolen time machine technology, they go back so that these guys can build the time machine using their Hadron Collider. You know, entirely possible. Time travel and all. You figured out how? Wow, that's amazing, Derek-kun. Mary pauses her DVD and comes up beside me. With a connection this fast, we can control the LHC practically in real time. Haven't actually tried it yet, though. You know, 300 milliseconds isn't that long. That's sort of real time. Sort of. That's right, even if this is some kind of CERN trap, we might be able to make use of it. You're still vulnerable to our attack. LHC is that 20-kilometer long tunnel thing, right? What does it do again? And this is where I comment on her facade of being stupid is a facade, because you wouldn't know if you were actually dumb. And if you actually didn't know what it did, you wouldn't know that what the LHC stands for. You wouldn't know that it's the 20-kilometer long tunnel thing. You definitely wouldn't know that. It accelerates protons and smashes them together. Oh yeah, mini black holes, right? Well, the official line is that many black holes might manifest as a byproduct of the particle collision. But, you know, that's not the truth. According to top secret documents we found, the LHC was intended to create black holes from the very beginning. But we still don't know exactly how they do that. We need to think of a way to... Okabe. Excuse me. Also, sorry, I'm exhausted. Kirisu suddenly emerges from the development room. She was cooped up in there all morning. Her expression is unusually grave. What's wrong? I figured it out. Figured out what? I think I know how the phone wave works. Oh, alright. Really? Kirisu nods. She still hasn't smiled. Keep in mind that this is just a hypothesis based on what we've observed. It's closely related to what you guys were just talking about, the LHC. I believe it was you, Christina, who called the LHC the world's largest microwave. Yes, exactly. My hunch was right. You've created a monster, Okabe. A monster. It doesn't belong in some amateur lab, and before you take that as an endorsement of your abilities, I mean it in a bad way. Kirisu clutches her arms as if to keep from trembling. Give me details, please. Did you know that the microwave oven was invented as a byproduct of radar research? Dara and I nod. Mary shakes her head. I knew that. I learned that from Futurama. Read up on all that back then. The phone wave, name started acting weird. When? Is that what it's supposed to say? Microwaves are electromagnetic waves with a frequency of 2.45 gigahertz. The phone wave is commercial grade, so the output is around 1500 to 2000 watts. Here's the important part. Kirisu goes on to explain that the electromagnetic waves output by the microwave are somehow connected to the electromagnetic waves output by the phone. In fact, you could say they fuse together. Ooh. According to Dara's blueprints, the microwave and the phone are made to send out the shared electromagnetic waves by taking their leads. Yeah, that would explain why, or maybe not like a microwave, I don't know, but definitely when, like, in the mid-2000s, when a phone was, like, buzzing, it would affect electronics around it. Like, I used to listen to my buddy, I guess I can say his name, my buddy Nate. He had a cell phone long before I did, in like 2009 area, and I had an alarm clock back then that played music, and we'd regularly listen to music. You know, turn off after an hour, you just hit the button again, it turns back on, you get music, it's great. So anytime he was getting a text message, his phone was set to silent, the radio would go, it would like buzz. It would like I can't replicate it, but you likely know the sound. And hardwiring each of them to a magnetron's cathode and anode. This one, reason to pause. A type of vacuum tube used in microwave ovens and radars produces strong microwaves. On one hand, we have the microwave's super strong electromagnetic waves, originally a byproduct of the military's research into radar technology. On the other, we have the cell phone's standardized electromagnetic waves, a frequency now ubiquitous throughout the world. What happens when you fuse those two waves? Both devices are electromagnetic waves. I'm not a specialist, though, so I can't examine the extent or magnitude of the influence that fusion has. But hypothetically, if the cell phone were to become a stepping stone, scattering the military-grade electromagnetic waves over a vast range of hundreds of kilometers, then not just Akihabara, but all of Tokyo would turn into the inside of a microwave oven. Ooh, that's bad. Taking into account slight variance due to body weight, the average time until death for the people inside would be 3 minutes. Yeah, that sounds about right. Seriously? Then the phone wave's a weapon of mass destruction, isn't it? Is it really that powerful? Let me tell you what happens inside the phone wave. The inside the oven is full of invisible hydrogen atoms, First, it bombards the atoms with microwaves to increase their... oh, jeez, I'm having trouble reading right now. Increase their energy potential. This is the normal function of a microwave oven. Specifically, I'm having trouble reading aloud. I could read this in my head, and I'd be fine. Maybe a little slower, but definitely fine. Just having trouble speaking, I suppose. But when you add the electromagnetic waves from the phone, the harmonics trigger a chain reaction. The particles collide repeatedly at near light speed, gaining mass and energy each time. In other words, it becomes a sort of particle accelerator. So it's good that you send your messages, oh wait, oh no, hang on. So is that to imply that each world line Okabe leaves behind is dead? Because everyone died of microwave radiation? Because every time he sends a phone message, he goes to a new world, but we don't actually know what happens to the discharge event. Now, I'm not entirely sure if there's been evidence of the discharge event happening while Okabe stays there and doesn't move on to a different world line. Like, what happens? I don't think that's actually been mentioned. But that's sort of a thing, right? Particle accelerator? Metal Gear? It's literally the same as the LHC. So, if the LHC was created to generate mini black holes, then the phone wave name subject to change must also produce miniature black holes. Karasu doesn't deny it. It's a miracle that thing has been so stable. But there's still one thing I don't understand. Even if it does produce mini black holes, they should evaporate instantly. But that's not what happens in the phone wave. The jellification phenomenon proves that. Just like the LHC, our mini black holes are turning into Kerr black holes. According to Taiter, you have to inject electrons to produce the Kerr black hole effect. Where did the injected electrons come from? That's what I don't understand. Hang on, I got mail. Oh, hey! It's easy to pretend to be someone you're not. Unfortunately, ultimately, however, there's no escaping the contradictions between your false self and the real you. It's a paradox. And paradoxes can't hold. I tried to tell myself that I didn't need anyone, that forming bonds would only hurt, but somehow I ended up joining your circle of friends. I still don't know if it was for the best. Wow, I'm losing this voice. I just can't speak today. No, I'm sure it was. Without you, I would have given up on ever finding my dad. I don't know why I wrote all this. I guess all I'm trying to say is thanks. Aw, that's very nice. Are you sharing confessions now? Be careful to whom you expose your innermost feelings. They may use them against you. Yeah, I'm dying inside, apparently. The LHC uses something called a lifter to inject electrons into the black hole and control the gravitational field. Something is filling that role inside the phone wave. Something. Like I said, I don't know what. So I guess that's what it comes down to. All Karasu's explanation does is confirm our hypothesis that the phone wave, named subject to change, functions the same as the LHC. Looks like we need to review what the LHC is. It's time for our LHC Moe guy to shine. LHC stands for Large Hadron Collider. Hadron? It's the name of an elementary particle. The LHC is basically a huge circular tunnel underneath Switzerland and France. They worked together to build it. It was pretty good of them. It sits about 100 meters below ground and has a total length of 27 kilometers. There are two rings that run through the tunnel. Inside the rings is a super low temperature vacuum, an environment like outer space, basically. Seriously, Moe. I don't know how that's Moe. In an adjective adjacent facility, protons are gradually accelerated by the linear accelerator, the proton synchrotron booster, and the superproton synchrotron. Oh, I'm going to save and quit because, my god, I'm dying, and it's at 20 minutes, so it's a perfectly fine time to do so. In the next episode, I will likely be feeling a lot better. So thank you guys so much for watching. Of course, I've been Keywii, and great to yourself a delightful day. Goodbye!